What's good, internet? This is Adrian Chilmy here from Nexience Gaming, and I'm here today with, I guess you could say, a special guest. So, I guess purported arena expert Matt Themelco. He
Hey.
has quite a bit of history in Yu-Gi-Oh, just like the rest of the team does, and takes particular interest in the arena form of the game. So, we're going to talk about the arena as opposed to the constructed mode of the game post Hearthstone expansion, the Grand Tournament, and all kinds of special things. So, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good stuff. Alright, so I guess we'll start generally and then we'll spiral into things, I guess,
Yep.
more of a specific nature. Can't articulate myself tonight. So, generally, if you had to sum up maybe in 50 words or less, what has the Grand Tournament done for Arena in a really general sense?
Okay, so basically, what's changed mostly is there's a bit of a power creep happening, where essentially overall nothing really changed too drastically, but a lot of the cards just got stronger. Like example, a very straightforward example is like Evil Heckler versus like Booty Bait fucking Bodyguard, for example.
Right.
That sort of thing happened. Everything kind of got an extra stat. There are cards like Pit Fighter now, which is like the nuts 5-drop. Aside from that, a couple of the classes got a lot better, and some didn't move at all. Like some people are arguing that Paladin is the new best arena class over Mage, which
Right.
I'm not quite sure about, but that's also possible too.
Okay, so things got a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, and just before we do head into things of a specific nature, just for the players that I guess you could say maybe the overall player base more tends to play constructed. Would you agree with that?
For sure, yeah.
Okay, so for the players that tend to neglect the arena side of the game, I mean, do you have any general tips for arena as a whole?
Yeah, I think arenas, it's more about tempo. It's like purely about tempo. Um, so essentially, if you play like your 2-drop, they play their 2-drop, and then like you miss your turn 3, you can almost just lose the game from that. You pretty much have to curve out really nicely, and that's probably the most important thing above everything else. Aside from that, you have to do the usuals like playing around AoE stuff like Flame Strike, pretty important. But yeah, the most important thing is like card quality and curving out correctly.
Okay, and obviously a gigantic component of that is correct drafting, right?
Yeah, yeah. Drafting is obviously a massive part, but they're obviously like there's the site Hearth Arena now, which I think I don't know, maybe 80% of the players use or something, or at least 80% of the players have probably heard of it.
Well, what do you
And,
think of Hearth Arena?
yeah, I think it's like a really really good tool. Even when I draft my decks, though, I don't 100% agree with it. Like, and I thought maybe I was just an idiot at first, but I was watching like a few people stream on Twitch, like even like Crip, for example.
Yeah.
And even when he uses Hearth Arena, he doesn't really agree with all the choices. Like, you got a 30 card deck. I think he probably disagrees with like 5 choices on average. So, but I think that's definitely something you should be questioning. For sure.
Because Hearth Arena is based on the popularity of cards in a particular draft compared to the other two, is that right?
I think it's more so based on like it's just every card has got its own ranking. It's like a ranking system. I think
Oh,
cards
okay.
are ranked out of 100.
Yeah.
There are a few legendaries that are ranked like 130. There are a few cards that they had to like rank the 100 and just like rank them higher.
Yeah.
Basically, every card's got a ranking, and you essentially choose the best card out of the 3 that pop up on your screen when you're drafting. And the later you get into the draft, I think you start to worry about things like curve more. So like you might not choose the best card because you might have to choose something that fits the curve better.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. So, yeah, sometimes it doesn't take in those contextual factors, right? Such as
Yeah.
you drafting in a particular way.
It does. It tries to take into account those sorts of things. It's probably not perfect, like the software, but it's pretty good. It's like 95% accurate, I'd say.
For a free tool, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to complain, isn't it?
If you're starting out with Arena, and I'd say like that's the best thing to make your Arena game better. If you use that a few times, you might not have to use it after that because you kind of start to get you get the gist of which cards are good and which cards suck.
Alright, so kind of focusing a little bit on the Grand Tournament then, post-expansion, have you found things like the Inspire or the Just mechanic in particular cards or in particular drafts being of significance to the game? Are there any really good interactions with these particular...
Oh yeah, I think we can start by just talking about Joust, I guess.
Sure.
So I think most people know by now. Essentially, Joust is when it goes off, it's like really good, and when it doesn't go off, it's really bad. So it's tough. Like I don't even know where I sit exactly like on this matter of like jousting cards. But like for example, if you draft I think it's like a guy that's a 1/2 and he becomes a 2/3 if the joust goes off.
Yep.
You pretty much always have less than 50% chance of hitting your joust because especially in arena, because most of the decks are like similar sort of curve and similar sort of cards in each deck.
Yep.
So, and when you draw, obviously you also lose. So I think your odds are like closer to 40% of the joust going off. So if you drop the guy that's a 1/2 on your turn 1 and he doesn't go off, you don't like lose the game, but it obviously really sucks just having a 1/2.
Okay. Yeah.
But if it does go off, you're close to like winning again because it's like a better version of Zombie Chow when it does go off. So and that's really important.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I still don't know how I feel about it because I don't even know if it's worth drafting like the 1/2 guy in particular. It's just hard to say, but I guess it just depends on what your other picks are, really.
Yeah, quite literally. And how about this Inspire mechanic? Are there any cards that are actually quite effective in Arena?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've only probably played 10 or 12 runs so far with the TGT. I think, like, a couple of the really good cards, I like to think that, I forget his name, it's just like, I think it's a 4/4, and he gains +2/2 with Inspire.
Yeah, he's strong.
So it's pretty much like that Warlock card as well. He's obviously really good, but I think he's the kind of card you want to drop when you can use a hero power in the same turn. But he's pretty nutty. Like, it forces your opponent to have to deal with it, or else it just spirals out of control, and you can't deal with it. If it becomes like an 8/8, it's just impossible to deal with.
Alright.
He's pretty good.
So
then there's Bone Guard Lieutenant. I think that's also another. I think it's maybe underrated. I don't know what it's ranked on the tier list, but I like to think that's a really good card.
So Bone Guard is Lieutenant is the one. He's the 2-drop, right? Inspire, gain +1 health.
Yeah.
So he can easily just become more resilient over the course of an early game.
Yeah, I mean, if you let's say they go turn 1, like the dream is if they drop like a 2/1 minion and you have that up and you can ping it off with Mage or something, and then have a 3/3 on the board. Yeah.
Okay, so those two kind of gimmicky aspects aside, are there any new cards from TGT that are just stand out fantastic and are almost a must in just about any draft?
Well, funny you mentioned it because that card, I believe it's North Sea Kraken, I think it's North Sea Kraken.
Yep.
It's like the 9-drop that deals 4 damage.
Yep, that's it.
And that's now the best common non-class card in the game, as ranked by Hearth Arena.
Oh wow!
So it's ranked at an 86 out of 100, and before that it was Piloted Shredder, and that was an 80. So yeah, that card's like the nuts.
Quite literally leading the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so
aside from that, nothing else really stands out.
Alright, well, I guess in terms of classes then, so you had your predominance of maybe Mage, Paladin, Priest to an extent, right? And then Druid sometimes and Hunter sometimes, so where do the classes stand now in terms of almost, I guess, a ranking post-expansion?
I honestly don't think too much has changed in like the middle to bottom. Like Warrior still sucks. They didn't get anything at all, they got the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone's saying that Paladin became a lot better. I think I've only had one run with Paladin since TGT, and I didn't draft too well. But they obviously got a lot of help, so it could be better than Mage now. That's a big thing. Like it could be the new best class, and that's partly because the class cards that Paladin got are just insane. Like they've got the Murloc Knight, which is just like insane tempo. Like even when it doesn't rip like the best Murloc, it's still pretty good. So they got that. They got the recost spell that like gives +3 attack and divine shield. So that's obviously really sick because that's like killing a minion off for free basically in the mid game.
Yeah, quite literally. Yeah, and it's all about tempo as you were saying.
Yeah. So Paladin got the biggest buff for sure in terms of arena, maybe in construct too, but definitely in arena. And the other thing to note is that like Mage was the best deck before because it just had such good common cards.
Yep.
Like you got Frostbolt, Fireball, Flame Strike, obviously. So now since there's like 132 cards I think in TGT. It just kind of saturates everything. So if you go to draft a mage, there's like a way less chance you're gonna draft Flame Strike. And mage didn't really get helped with the class cards either. They're all pretty average.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
basically, mage just got a whole bunch of average cards, and your chances of drafting Flame Strike and the other cards got way harder. So that's probably why it became worse.
So in a funny way, more cards, just added to mage drafting worse cards potentially, right? Yeah, that's really interesting to think about. So post-expansion, obviously in Constructed and Arena, the meta gets shaken up, for lack of a better term, right? So in your experience with your 10 runs or so, do you think players are adapting well with drafting choices and smoothing out curves with the new cards, or do you think they're kind of missing the mark in terms of knowing what's good and whatnot, especially in Arena?
I honestly I feel like the first couple games of Arena have felt really, really soft, like a lot easier since TGT.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because, I mean, I think it's a mixture of things. I think it's like maybe there's a bunch of new players playing the game. Like the game's just getting bigger and bigger, obviously.
Yeah.
And maybe a bunch of new players old players came back to the game, or a bunch of new players started playing, and they tested Arena and they just don't know what they're doing. Or it's either that or the fact that like the cards are new, so no one's really sure what works in Arena yet. But yeah, the first couple games are really easy, and then from there nothing feels too different. It's just everything got a little bit better, sort of thing. The games kind of feel a bit faster too.
How do you feel about that in terms of, I guess, the skill argument of it all? Like the games being a lot faster, is there the same amount of skill involved in the actual gameplay, or are cards just getting too powerful?
I think if anything, it's maybe more skillful because there's less Flame Strike around, for example. That single card was like a very big deal in Arena, because essentially if you saw mage in your hero picks, you're always going to snap pick the mage. So there'd just be a lot of mages floating around, and they'd all kind of filter out towards like 7 wins, 8 wins. They'd all be doing pretty well, and you knew if you got to 7 wins or 8 wins plus, and you played against a mage, they'd pretty much definitely have 1 or 2 Flame Strike.
Right.
And now that's not always the case, which I think is really good. It's a bit more balanced.
Okay, so how many wins do you think you're averaging post-TGT?
Well, I think like before TGT it was something like 5 or 4.8 or something. And now it's probably closer to 6.5, 7.
Okay.
I'm happy with, even though it's a pretty small sample. But yeah, I think it might just even out eventually, because that's on the higher end of things. But I think that's only because I've maybe run a bit well, and like people don't know what they're doing yet.
Okay, in Arena, is a 7-win average sort of like extremely acceptable? Is that the benchmark, or?
Yeah. You're really happy to get 7 wins.
Okay, yeah, because I just see crazy streamers like Ratsma and stuff somehow like getting 12 wins literally every single time they draft. I mean, what do you have to say? Like, I don't watch too much Arena, it's hard to pass judgment, but how do these players kind of do it?
I think there's like a lot of small edges you can get in Arena. Like, I think a really big one is knowing when to trade and like what minions to trade in, and when to like swing for face, for example. Like, I think a lot of players that do really well in Arena just know when to take the risks and when not to.
Yeah.
And like for example, if you like choose to swing like a 5 or 6 attack minion into one of your opponent's minions and trade, rather than like swing face with it, that could be a game-changing play for sure. Like that can win or lose you the game. And I think a lot of these players, what they're good at is like thinking a few turns ahead. And a lot of players just don't know how to do that or aren't good at it. But yeah, I think that's a definitely defining feature of like the players that do well.
Okay, and assuming you've had a few, I guess, constructed games post expansion as well. Sorry, how would you compare? I mean, the way you have to play in the kind of 2 game modes. I mean, does your gameplay have to significantly change when you enter the arena, or is it kind of the same principles like the ABCs of Hearthstone?
For the most part, it's the same, but there are definitely a lot of differences. Like, if you're playing constructed, you kind of know what you're up against. Like, you know what decks you're going to run into, and if you see like a paladin, for example, you know it's either going to be this build or this build. But in arena, it's not quite the case. You only know their class cards, and like from there, you kind of have a rough idea of what cards they might draft. But they could just drop a card like Mad Bomber and completely like swing the game or something. Like you just don't know what they're gonna draft. But yeah, in constructed, I guess you've got an idea of what's going on, and I think constructed is more about like there's more swings. I think if you're behind in constructed, you can come back into a game. Um, and there are things in constructed like little combos and stuff that can just bring you back from a losing game and help you win. Like, this is like a pretty vague example, but maybe like Force of Nature Savage Roar or something.
Yep.
There's like pretty much nothing like that in Arena. So I think once you fall behind, if you slip in Arena, and like I don't know, you miss dropping a good 4-drop on your turn 4, but your opponent has like a Yeti, you pretty much just lose.
And I guess how does that fare up with you in terms of luck and the drawing element of card games? I mean, if you don't draw the perfect curve, you can quite literally lose to what is never a fault of your own for the most part.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's one thing in Arena. That's another big difference between Constructed and Arena. Like, you can't blame the cards too much in Constructed, but in Arena, it's like, well, I've got 3 picks, and it's just like Ancient Watcher, target dummy, and something else. And you're like, well, this is what I've been given. You just kind of have to make the best of it.
Right.
Sometimes you can't really do much at all.
So it's just the variance you just have to conveniently ignore and do your best, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's more than fair enough. Well, do you have any, I guess, general comments that we kind of haven't touched on about Arena in general, or the expansion in relation to the Arena, or anything like that?
I think for the most part we covered nearly everything. I think just people have to know if they're coming from Constructed and they barely have played any Arena. You got to realize like how important curving out is, and like little card synergies within your deck are really important because you barely get that.
So could you give an example?
Yeah, like if you're playing Mage and like you have a lot of spells in your deck, and then a pick comes up where it's like you can take a 2nd or 3rd Mana Worm versus like, I don't know, some other card that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Mana Worm might just be the right pick. But then like if you go on Hearth Arena, it has a little box in the corner and it tells you all the card synergies within your deck.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, it changes the ranking of the cards like on the go. So if you have a lot of spells, it'll just like, it'll change it on the go and tell you that this card is better in this scenario.
Yeah. That's a scarily.
But the most important thing is curving out.
The most important thing is curving out. Yeah. So, I mean, as you were saying before, it's really hard to know what your opponents are playing. In most cases, impossible, right? You're always going on the back of different generalizations, stuff like that. I mean, how do you prepare for that mentally? I guess in Constructed, like you said, I know I'm versing Secret Paladin or mid-range Paladin. Nothing too much can catch me by surprise. So, how do you play around particular cards in Arena?
It's kind of hard. Like as I said earlier, you just kind of have to know the class cards, and you got to know what cards are good. I think that's another important thing. If you just go on Hearth Arena and look at the tier list and the card rankings, you kind of know what cards people should be picking, and you kind of know what to expect. It's mainly just about having big stats, really. Like, and obviously health is always more important than like attack, generally speaking. So like a Yeti is much better than a Lost Tall Strider, for example.
Yeah. Like
even though the stats are the same, they're just flipped. It's like if you have a 5/4 on turn 4, something with 4 health can just get destroyed by like True Silver Champion, for example, and that's a massive difference. Like if your Yeti can survive, if your Yeti can like take out 2 of your opponent's 3/3s or something like that, or 2 of your opponent's 4/4s even. That's obviously a massive difference. So yeah, there's a big difference between like a Yeti and a card with 4 health, for example.
Okay, and it's just as a matter of curiosity, I mean, how important are hero powers or the interaction of hero powers in Arena? Is it something that's extremely important in general?
I like to think it's like something you should keep in mind because I think that's another reason why cards like Yeti are really good. Because if you have like 5 health, for example, you can't get destroyed by like a True Silver Champion. Like your opponent has to like swing you and then do an extra damage to you. But I think in general the classes that can do damage with their hero powers, the classes that can do damage with their hero powers to like another minion are generally the stronger ones. Mm-hmm. So if your hero power is like Mage or Mage. Even Paladin making like a 1/1 dude.
Okay.
it's like much more relevant than just going 2 damage to face with Hunter or like healing up for 2 armor. Like that's why Warrior also sucks. It's probably the worst hero power as well.
Yeah, so in terms of utility, these hero powers actually bear quite a bit of relevance, hey?
Yeah, they're very relevant, yeah, for sure.
Tempo strings and whatnot. There's something else I want to touch on. I think one of the most broken cards in the game, and I've been on like a broken record for the last 6 months. This is after the last expansion.
I think I know.
Yeah, look, it starts with an M, and it ends in battle. Is this card absolutely broken in Arena 2, Master?
Master, yeah, it is. It's just like, you look at the card and like, it's just a massive, massive tempo swing. Like, it's basically 4 damage in a 3 mana card, and you can kind of, you know, split the damage up wherever you need it to swing, which is really relevant.
Yeah, I think splitting the damage is what makes it absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's that much better than having just a 3/3 creature, for example, because, you know, split it up and choose where you want the damage to go.
Quite exactly. And that 1/4 weapon, though.
Yeah, it's pretty relevant, honestly. Like, I think there was like a bit of a debate between it was like Trump and I think Hafu or something. They were like talking about Light's Justice as a card in Arena, and I think Trump said it sucked, and Hafu was saying that it was like quite good, and I think it's like really good as well. Well, I think it's better than people think it is anyway.
Yeah, that's really interesting because it appears quite weak, but it just rounds off the edges sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so what's your opinion actually on that topic of some of these really popular streamers that play a bit of Arena, like Hafu, Ratsma, I know there's another guy, there's a few good Arena streamers, like are there any of them particularly good?
In all honesty, I don't watch too many different streamers. It's mainly like the same 2 or 3 players. I watch a lot of Trump and Crip. I watch like the drafting process, and I watch like the YouTube videos they throw up when they're playing their Arena games. And I think they might not even be the best Arena players, but they're like definitely up there. So yeah, to be honest, I haven't done like a lot of searching around in that regard, but I've definitely learned a lot from both of them. I think Trump, he kind of like speaks out loud and like describes his thought process when he's drafting
Quite methodically,
so,
yeah.
Player, it's pretty handy if you're a new player and you want to learn. He's like someone to watch for sure.
Well, taking a step back from the specific cards and whatnot, do you think there's anything Blizzard could do, even if it's trivial, to improve Arena as a game mode? Like, I mean, rankings, gold heroes, like, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I heard this idea from maybe a Crypt video, where he was saying if you have a gold card in your collection, and then it comes up as an Arena pick, you should be able to have it gold in Arena.
Well, that's incentive to having gold cards, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bit of incentive to play Arena. Like, some people just kind of like the bling. I don't know, but I don't think it's too relevant. But it might get a few more players playing it. And another huge one is obviously, it doesn't add to your golden portrait.
Wins, yeah.
500. Yeah. I think that's like that one's super relevant. I think. So that's like as far as incentive goes for players, that's a big one. But in terms of improving Arena, I think Warrior just needs a bit of a buff. Like, they definitely could have done it with TGT, and they just didn't. I think, like, main thing is to have more good common cards. Like, it doesn't really matter if you have these amazing epics or legendaries, because you essentially never draft legendaries, and you rarely draft epics as well. Maybe, like, 1 or 2 per draft, and it's, like, so irrelevant. So you don't really play around legendaries or epics ever. And, like, yeah, none of the common Warrior cards are good enough compared to the rest of the Arena.
Yeah.
I think that hurts. Like, they need some sort of board clear or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, as you were saying, in constructed decks you do have these little combos that like are purposely meant to work with each other, like the end of a Death Spite along with Acolytes and everything like that. So you can't have these little 3-4 card intricacies in Arena purely because of drafting and like the random nature.
Yeah, you just need like solid single standalone cards, and I think Warrior like definitely lacks that.
Okay. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Warlock at the end of all this? Have you drafted Warlock yet?
No, that's one I actually haven't got to pick at all. But I think it got like slightly better. I think Wrathguard is just a crazy card.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, overall I haven't got to pick it, so I wouldn't know. But I think it definitely got one of the best, maybe the best 2-drop. So that's something to talk about, I guess.
Yeah. Indeed, yeah. That is something we've harped on about in our previous videos, and funnily enough, we're not feeling the presence of Wrathguard in Constructed. Warlock's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. I'm not sure if it's because of Paladin's speed or But I'm sure it'll come back into favour at some point.
Yeah, it might just be like something to do with I think because that Paladin, the secret deck's like up there as maybe the best deck now, one of the best decks, or it's definitely like really heavily played. Maybe like Zoo can't compete against it or something.
Yeah, funnily enough, I struggle against it with that deck. But anyway, so are you keen to show us a drafting then with the new TGT and everything else?
Yeah.
Alright,
Sure,
cool.
sure.
It'll be really interesting to go through the draft and your thoughts on each card.
Yeah, I'll just start screen sharing. Give us 1 second.
So, yeah, I guess in terms of reform, part of spectator mode could entail watching the draft as well. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
But, never lucky.
May just have to reconnect to Hearthstone because it's just needing itself a bit tonight.
Yeah, the server's not having a fun day.
Yeah, I'm happy to like go through the drafting process and kind of explain the thought process as I go along, and like maybe touch on some of the stuff we talked about before.
Yeah, that would be fantastic because it's easy to talk about Arena in a really general sense, but until you have really specific applications in terms of curve and the cards actually appearing in front of you, it's really hard to get a really good idea.
Yeah, it's a bit vague until you really have the cards in front of you.
Absolutely. Because like you said, sometimes you have to compensate a really good standalone card for the sake of your curve, and it would be really nice to see some of these examples in action in a draft. So,
like, I think like the example I was about to mention is like, I don't know, you couldn't win in Arena with a deck that had like, yeah, like if you had 30 Ragnaros or 30 Paladin Shredder, like you're probably not going to win if you have no turn 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Like that's why curve's pretty important. Yeah, we'll start a draft up and we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Just let me know when you can see the screen.
Alright, I think we're good. Albeit a bit laggy, but that's what happens when we can't spectate.
Yeah. That's alright, I'll like take my time. You can tell me where it's up to.
Alright, yeah. It's, you just paid for it. Alright.
It's kind of, I think it just like kicked me out, but okay. So, we have Warrior, which is like a snap no.
Okay.
So we basically have two choices here. I'm not fussed on either. If you guys have any preference, go nuts and throw it out there.
Not particularly. Actually, Rogue's one class we haven't talked about. Rogue's quite decent, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely quite decent. It's like, I was reading like an article like pre-TGT, and they try to split the decks into tiers, and it's like I think there were 4 tiers. It's like tier 1 was Mage and Paladin.
Yeah.
Tier 4 was like just Warrior by itself.
Yeah.
And then tier 2 and 3 was everything else. Then Rogue was like tier 2. So I think it's definitely good. We'll go Rogue.
Sure. Alrighty.
I just think the hero power is like really relevant. Okay, so I know off the top of my head that Alamo bot is just god awful.
Yep.
So it's a snap. No, I could explain why it's bad, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's really self-evident.
Egg is like okay. It might be, it's pretty bad to be honest, but it might be a card you choose near the end of your draft. You have like a lot of buffs, obviously. So it's like this one's pretty obvious. Slight strength, and this is like a really good 3-drop. Battle Cry is nearly irrelevant, but you know it could be relevant.
That's a good enough.
So here, I think it's just Puddle Slumper. Direwolf Alpha isn't bad, but at the same time, you just go for the stats most of the time. For a 5-drop, Arcscale Healer isn't that good for a 5-drop. Once again, it's an okay card. You might pick it like towards the end of the draft if maybe like need healers, or if you're playing Priest and you have like Cleric or something. But yeah, this is just Puddle Slumper. Shield Bearer is just once again god awful. That's pretty obvious. I think I snap take the Crusher here. When this card becomes like a 9/9, it's pretty impossible to get around.
Draconoid Crush is quite good, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. As I was just saying, like if it ever becomes a 9/9, it's just impossible. If they don't have hard removal, they just lose, and that happens like quite a bit. Haunted Creeper is rated really, really high. I'm sure it's higher than Buccaneer. But I haven't tested this card. I'm sure it's not bad. I've seen it played against me in Arena, and it was like actually really, really good.
But it already used to be on the board when you hero power, right? So
yeah, like if you go turn 1 Buccaneer and then turn 2 you just have to do that. It's just like very quick tempo. I'm actually not sure. I could always look up what it's rated on Hearth Arena.
No,
I'm not
that's all
really
good.
sure.
You can just go off intuition. Whatever that may be.
Say that again, sorry.
You can just go off intuition.
I think I'm just going to go with Creeper here. But before I choose, do you actually think it's worth like looking up just out of curiosity, or?
Yeah, if you want to fulfill that curiosity, go for the
Sure. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I'm going to guess it's like maybe rated around 60 something. I could be really wrong, but I'm just going to take a punt. So for those like who don't know, this is the tier list. Just every card sorted by their rarity and then sorted by like ranking. So at the top you can choose a class. Go rogue. Then we scroll down to like common. Yeah, Buccaneers rated 70.
So which is quite good, right?
Yeah. I was saying like 60 something, so it's actually better than I thought.
72.
And Creeper's 72. So Creeper is like probably the pick because there's no reason. Unless you had like, I don't know, Pyro synergy or something, Buccaneer wouldn't really get a boost. So it's definitely Creeper, but it's really, really close. Like closer than I thought. So we'll go with Creeper. This one isn't so straightforward. Like, I really don't like Hungry Dragon too much. Because I just like playing a game where your opponent has nothing on the board.
Here I was thinking Defias was the absolute stones.
He's definitely good. I don't know his exact rating, but we can refer to the tier list for like most of the picks, or ones that aren't clear anyway. Ringleader is 74. He actually might be the best out of these three picks. Hungry Dragon. I'm sure Hungry Dragon's worse than that. Yeah, Dragon 62.
There you go.
Yeah, so as I was saying, when Dragon came out, everyone thought it was going to be like the nuts, but I think like just giving your opponent a random one cost. If the one cost has like 2 attack, it pretty much makes the Dragon a 5/4.
Yep.
Because like it can just swing into the Dragon. So it's that's the way I see it. And also they can buff up the 2/1 with like with any of their buffs in their deck. So that's not good. So we'll go Ringleader. I think this is Ogre Brute. We only have 1 3-drop. And 3 2s are really easy to come by. So if we're lacking them, we can always come back to those later. Tiger's very good as well. It's probably close between Tiger and Brute, honestly. So Brute 66. Tiger might be more than that, I'm not even sure. Tiger, they're both 66 exactly. But I'd rather take the 3-drop here.
That's really interesting that they're equal. Ogre Brute seems really strong. Buccaneer seems
Grimscale
really strong.
Like, yeah, Buccaneer for sure. Grimscale, I think, is like the worst or one of the bottom 5 picks or something. I really wonder what Snowball is rated because I think like the stats just suck, honestly. Even though it's got 6 health, like a 2/6 isn't good enough.
The Snapjaw, like a worse Snapjaw.
Yeah, essentially. Like the spell damage pretty much means like nothing at all. So it's definitely Dragonling or Iron Fur. They're probably like they're rated pretty mid-rangey, probably in the 50s or something. So Grizzly's 52. Dragonling might be worse. Can't even see it. Yeah, it's 36. So we're gonna go Grizzly. I think it's just Snap Deadly Poison, even though Assassin's Blade is really good.
The early game tempo, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you can throw this down turn 2 with a coin or something, and it gets 2 trades off, it's pretty nutty. So out of curiosity, let's see how it fares up. So poison is 68, and the weapon is 50. Yeah. That sounds about right. So far we haven't had any picks where we've had to like skip choosing a good card because of our curve, but we're also really early in the game.
Yeah.
Into the draft. Mana rate sucks for obvious reasons. Skulker I think is like very insane. We just confirmed that, but I'm pretty sure it's the nuts. That's a rare, right? Yeah. Yeah, he's ranked 92. I think it's like the best rogue card possibly. And like, obviously.
I'm guessing besides SI 7 or something.
Yeah. I think it's just Trog. We haven't had 4 drops yet. That's something to note.
Yep.
And although I don't like, obviously a Yeti is far better than Trog, and like Trog pretty much never gets its effect off. We need 4 drops. We're like third way through the draft, and you want to end up with like maybe 6 or 7, maybe 7 or 8 4 drops roughly, and we've got none, so we definitely have to pick it. So this is where the picks almost start becoming easy because you got to kind of have to smooth out your curve as you go. This could be Buccaneer again, but Shattered is also very good. The Buccaneer hype. I think it's good though, even though I've tested it. So once again, Buccaneer is 70 and Shattered is 68. Yeah, so I guess it's another Buccaneer. We may just end up with a deck of like 20 Buccaneers. This is just Yeti.
I feel like that's just Yeti, yeah,
Sure.
for sure. It's just too good.
I guess this is Dragon. Obviously never the ball. I really like Abusive Sergeant in Arena. I think it gets value with cards like I think it gets value with maybe Shaman because it just buffs the totems and they actually do something. But yeah, this has to be Dragon. These cards are all decent. I think Acolyte's the worst. I want to see the difference in points between Barber and Crusher. So I'm really curious. So Barber is 80. Yeah, Crusher's definitely not 80. So I guess it's Barber, but let's see where Crusher is anyway, just so you guys know. So yeah, Crusher's ranked 66.
Interesting.
Yeah. I wonder where Mookless Champion sits. I don't know how I feel about this card. Do you have like any thoughts on this guy?
This card's terrible.
It's terrible.
This card's god awful.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
I hope the list like obliges with my. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, he's at 46.
Yeah, it doesn't take an expert
So
to
that's
know
like
that
the
Defias
low-
is the pick.
low.
Yeah. And I think
this is
Fen
the
Creep is
yeah.
the pick, yeah. Well, as you're saying, defense is more important, right? Like, generally.
Yeah, exactly. I also think taunts. I think this is something we didn't touch on. I just love taunts in Arena. I think they're insane, and I don't know. No one seems to really care or think that they're that good. Like, you can't just choose taunts because their stats are decent, and it's like, oh, they also have taunt. But I think just taunt is very relevant in general.
Okay.
Because like, if you have a taunt up and you have a couple minions that your opponent wants to kill off, they just can't do it. So it changes everything. This just has to be South Sea Deckhand. I can't imagine that Tournament Medic is any good. Like, obviously it sucks. I just want to see how bad it sucks. So he's ranked 30. Okay, that sounds about right. That's awful.
Yeah.
And so is Gargoyle.
Oh, Spiteful... Oh, now you have a conflicting
just-
choice. I mean...
I think it's just Smith, honestly, but Spiteful Smith is a 64. I wonder what Big One is. Stalker. Am I spelling it right? No. Stalker. 64. Yeah, it's actually they're the exact same ranking, which is surprising.
So now you have to go look at your curve and make a call.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty
But
obvious.
we have a lot of early game in general.
Yeah.
We don't have many strong things.
Smith
yet.
actually
And
has like a lot of synergy with your class.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's got a enrage like +2 for your weapon, so that's perfect. This pick sucks. It's basically I guess it's just Arcane Nullifier.
Yeah, you don't have
I
any
want to look
buffs.
up what Egg is ranked at, by the way. Egg is 36. Yeah, okay. Nullifier is never worse than that. This one I honestly wouldn't know what to pick. Like, I'd have to sit here and think about it. So to make life easy, I'm just going to look them all up. So Tron is a 58.
Corrupt.
Spanner 60, and Corrupt 44. Yeah, but how many dragons do we have? That's like pretty relevant. One.
Oh, you have 2 dragons.
Yeah, it's actually
That's
2 dragons and we're
arguable.
like 2/3 of the way. I still think it might be nervish one. Yeah, I feel like it's no-mish. If we had 3 to 4 dragons, if you had 4 dragons, it's definitely Corruptor. If you had 3, you'd definitely think it's like probably Corruptor. But 2's not quite enough. Like, you have 2 dragons and drop no more, it's probably just not enough. But he's so good when you have a bunch of dragons. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go no-mish to be safe. I think this has to be Fairy Dragon just because the other one sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude, I think this guy's really good. Shadow Pan. But obviously Raider is
Super good with your class, and you're playing 2 Buccaneer.
Yeah, exactly. I think Raider sounds so good. I just want to know what Shadow Pan's ranked. I think it'd be pretty high. Yeah, Shadow Pan is 74.
Okay.
But this is one of those picks, as I mentioned before, if you ran this through Hearth Arena and you got to this pick, it'd be like, blah, blah, blah. Blood's Raider has like, I don't know, infinite synergy with this deck, which it does. Let's see where it sits on the list by itself. Anyway, 62. You'd be surprised how much the points change with things like synergy.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to guess and say that Raider would be ranked higher right now.
Yeah, for the sake of your curve, I think for sure.
Yeah, that's true. We've already got 3 5-drops. We really don't want to. I mean, you don't mind having a 4th if it's really good, but we're lacking early game a little bit. Motion is really bad. Bluegill's, it's actually fine, this card. Like, generally you just drop it on a turn where you can trade it into a 3-2. So it just becomes like, it's almost like a Frostbolt or something. I really don't know how Ice Ranger sits. I drafted it once before and it was really fine, so... Ice Ranger, 44, it's quite low. We've got Murloc, sorry, Bluegill. I think Bluegill just has to be higher.
I'd say so. It's a very common pick.
Yeah, he's a 50. Okay, so it's an average pick, but it's still Bluegill.
Yeah.
Like, even though... So it's a 50 pick versus a 44 pick.
Yeah.
And we're lacking 3. So I'd actually consider taking the Ice Ranger, really, because we've also got kind of a weak deck. Like, we don't have very many boss monsters. And, you know, this guy can trade with the Yeti, which is pretty relevant, so I'm actually leaning towards the Ranger, like, real talk. We've got a lot of early game. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we've got, like, 11 early game cards. I think it actually is Ice Ranger.
There you go.
Yeah. If it was early in the draft, it would be Bluegill for sure. This is the guy we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never looked him up on, the list, so I'm curious now.
Can't imagine he's rated too highly.
He's
45.
46, below average. Well, there you go. That just goes to show he's just, he's 46, and then Zombie Chow is like at 76, so
Yep.
that just pretty much explains it. That I need to say no more. Betrayal is probably the pick, because once again, we don't want them to late game. But, I mean, we don't want to be 5-drops specifically. Yeah, I'll go Betrayal. I really like this card, by the way. I'm really scared to look it up on the list because I'm scared it'd be rated low. I think it's really good, the Jaramanga.
You actually do have some pirates though, sadly, but yeah, you have to look it up.
Yeah, let's look them all up. Under Jaramanga. He's a 58, I think I just saw. Yeah, 58. So not as good as I would have thought he's like 60 something, just because his stats. Help if we went on to the thing.
That would help.
Yeah, once again, like we have like no like super late game. We have 1 6-drop so far. So I mean, in the late game, you don't want to be top like ship's cannon. So this is once again one of those choices where I think Jaramanga would be rated high just because of the fact that it's a late game drop. Like, I think definitely that would be the case, but I guess we'll see how close everything is. Assassin's Blade could be the pick as well. Assassin's Blade is 50. Ship's cannon. I think I'm just going to take it down. I'll go like, if I didn't look at this list, I would take it. Ship's cannon is 54. Lunger is a 58. Yeah, so it's just the best card there anyway. So we've got 4 more picks left. I think this should be Tiger because, as I was saying, like we have no late game. We have way too many pure drops. Not too many, but we just don't want any more. So it's going to be Tiger. Shade of Nax is ranked really high. I know that much. I have no idea what Twilight Guardian would be ranked at. We do have some synergy because it's a dragon, but I'm not sure. He's a 48, so yeah, once again. Those situational cards, I should probably mention, like Jousting or Dragon sort of card, they're usually ranked really low because, you know, they don't get any of their points until you have synergy with them. Like, they just kind of suck without the synergy. I think that's understandable, so it's probably going to just be Nax. Yeah, it's a 66, okay. Last 2 picks. So we have Booty Bay.
Or Buccaneer number 3.
It's just the flat no. It could be Buccaneer number 3. I like Fan here. So we have like no... It's not really a board clear, but we need something. We don't have many 3-drop cards in general. Fan of Knives. And Buccaneer was like 70, was it? Or... Yeah, it'd definitely be Fan because on the screen now it'd just be saying like you have way too many low drops. So yeah, it's definitely Fan. This is just Belgium.
This is Belgium.
This pick, the last pick, you can't really say, oh, you know, I have too many 5-drops. You just have to go for the best card.
Yeah.
So that's the deck, and honestly, this is just your average arena deck. This is pretty average.
No Viscerate, no Blade Flurry.
Yeah, it doesn't have any
No
crazy cards,
backstab.
but at the same time, none of the cards really suck. Like honestly, none of the individual cards suck. So
I think you might have a lack of removal, so once you do lose initiative on board, I think this deck can't win any games.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of deck where you have to have you do have a strong early game anyway, so if you have like a good turn 1, 2, and 3 play, you probably win. But if you don't, if you just brick out somehow, you instantly lose because you can't come back.
Yeah.
So you'd expect this to go like 5 to 7 wins, honestly, on a good day, but you'd be happy to get 5 wins with this. It's just average. But yeah, that's the drafting process, I guess. Like nothing super crazy came up, choice-wise. That's pretty much how it goes.
Then we've learned that Hearth Arena is a pretty important tool.
Yeah, massively.
It makes me wonder how these guys don't charge for it, but anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
It's absolutely amazing. But alright, cool. Well, I guess on that note, did you have any concluding thoughts about Arena post-expansion in general?
I think we're still settling in. Like it's only a week and a half into the set, so things are probably going to change. But I don't know, people. I think maybe even the tier list will change. Like the rankings of some of the cards will change.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to.
I think no one's kind of 100% sure which cards are good. Which like I saw a video recently where the guy that made Hearth was like arguing with another decent arena player about what Kraken should be rated as. One of them wanted to rate it at like 70 something, and one wanted to rate it at like 90 or something. And then they settled on whatever it is now. 86
we'll go halfway, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people are the cards are like up in the air. I think you'll just kind of see the dust settling in like another week or two. You can kind of feel it now as well. But yeah, for the most part, I think it's going to be as easy as it has been because it kind of felt a little easier, especially the opening few games.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be harder again eventually.
Alright, then I guess on that note, we'll check back with you in maybe a month's time, and once that dust is starting to settle, see how that kind of arena context is going. But yeah, thank you for a very interesting insight into Arena as a whole, and yeah, hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, no worries.